She's not busy. She's not confused. And she didn't forget. She stopped responding because your attention became predictable. That's the part no one tells you. Notice how this usually happens. At the beginning, she replies fast. You feel relaxed. You don't overthink. Then you start replying faster. You check your phone more. You wait. And slowly, the energy flips. She pulls back. No argument. Just imbalance. Attraction doesn't disappear suddenly. It evaporates. When someone knows exactly how much you care, how available you are, and how easily you react, there's nothing left to discover. The human mind doesn't chase clarity. It chases uncertainty. You're not being ignored because you're not enough. You're being ignored because you made yourself too easy to reach. Your attention had no resistance, and without resistance, value drops. If you watch this entire video, you'll understand why men who care less often control the direction of relationships, not by playing games, but by understanding attention, silence, and emotional self-control. This isn't dating advice, it's psychology. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli observed the same pattern. The leaders who reacted to everything lost power. The ones who stayed quiet, unpredictable, and emotionally unreadable became influential. The environment changed. Human nature didn't. Think about the guy who doesn't reply instantly, not rude, not cold, just busy with his own life. If she texts, fine. If she doesn't, he continues his day. That calm changes the dynamic because now she adjusts to him. When your happiness depends on a reply, you give up leverage. When your mood stays the same, you regain it. That's the difference between needy and grounded. Ignoring isn't punishment. It's refusing to chase validation. It's choosing not to react just to be seen. And reaction is where power leaks. Being nice isn't the issue. Being emotionally exposed is. When everything you feel is visible, there's no mystery. No mystery means no tension, and no tension means no attraction. Most men think attraction is built by doing more. In reality, it's built by needing less. Once you understand that, you stop chasing replies and start becoming someone people respond to. Once you understand that attraction is built by needing less, a new question appears. Why does this work? Why does silence feel powerful in one person's hands and desperate in another's? The answer is not confidence. It's position. Every relationship has an invisible structure. Someone reacts. Someone sets the pace. Someone adjusts. Someone stays grounded. And the person who adjusts less always controls the dynamic. This isn't manipulation, it's gravity. Notice how this works everywhere. In a classroom, the teacher who panics loses authority. In a group, the person who tries too hard disappears. At work, the employee who over-explains gets overlooked. Same behavior, same outcome. Human beings don't respect effort. They respect emotional self-containment. This is why Machiavelli mattered. 500 years ago, he wasn't studying romance. He was studying power. And power behaves the same whether it's a kingdom or a conversation. Machiavelli noticed something dangerous. The leaders who explained themselves lost control. The leaders who stayed unreadable forced others to adapt. Why? Because when people don't know where they stand with you, they start paying attention. That's the first forbidden principle. Attention follows uncertainty. When your reactions are predictable, your value drops. When your emotional state is stable, your presence grows. This is why chasing clarity kills attraction. Every time you ask, "Are we okay?" What happened? Why didn't you reply? You signal fear of loss. Fear is readable, even through silence. The second forbidden principle, neediness repels faster than rejection. Most men think being rejected hurts. It doesn't. What hurts is realizing you gave someone control over how you feel. That's why silence hurts. Not because you miss her, but because your emotional balance was external. Now here's the part most people misunderstand. Ignoring is not the goal. Emotional independence is. When you stop needing a response to feel stable, everything changes. Your tone changes, your timing changes, your energy changes, and people sense that shift immediately. This leads to the third principle. The person who needs less sets the frame. Frame is not dominance. Frame is reality. Who decides what matters? Who decides what gets attention? Who decides the pace? When your life continues smoothly with or without someone's validation, you become the reference point. That's when attraction rebuilds without effort. Now let's talk about absence. Because absence is misunderstood. Absence is not disappearing. Absence is not punishment. Absence is not strategy. Absence is simply not being emotionally available on demand. This is the fourth principle. Scarcity creates value only when it's natural. Fake distance feels forced. Real distance feels calm. One creates anxiety, the other creates respect. Think about the man who doesn't rush replies. Not because he's playing games, but because he's genuinely engaged in his own world. That difference is everything. When absence feels intentional, it repels. When absence feels grounded, it attracts. Now comes the hardest truth. Most men pedestalize without realizing it. They place women above their own purpose, their own rhythm, their own emotional center. That destroys attraction instantly, because attraction requires balance. This is the fifth principle. The moment you elevate someone, you lower yourself. Attraction cannot survive inequality. Respect cannot grow from worship. That's why men who do everything right often get ignored. They removed all tension. Tension is not conflict. Tension is polarity. And polarity disappears when one side collapses inward. Now let's talk about unpredictability. Not chaos, not mood swings, but emotional neutrality. This is the sixth principle. Consistency creates comfort. Unpredictability creates obsession. When your attention comes on a schedule, the brain adapts. When your attention feels earned, the brain fixates. This is not romance advice. This is nervous system behavior. The human brain bonds to what it cannot fully control. That's why intermittent attention creates attachment. Not because it's cruel, but because uncertainty activates focus. Now understand this clearly. You are not trying to control her. You are trying to control yourself. Self-control is the real power move. And this leads to the final principle, the one Machiavelli understood best. Power does not announce itself. The strongest men don't demand attention. They don't chase validation. They don't explain silence. They move forward calmly, and people adjust around them. At this point, something subtle happens. You stop reacting. Not because you don't care, but because your center has moved back inside you. This is where most people fail. They think emotional restraint means becoming cold. It doesn't. It means becoming stable. Stability is rare, and rarity attracts. When your mood doesn't rise with praise or collapse with silence, you become untouchable. This is not arrogance. Arrogance needs validation. This is quiet authority. You stop chasing replies. You stop replaying conversations. You stop negotiating your worth. And here's the paradox. That's when attention returns. Not always immediately, not always dramatically, but consistently. Because people are drawn to emotional gravity. Once you reach this state, relationships change, not because others changed, because you did. You no longer give attention to be chosen. You give attention from choice. And that difference is felt instantly. Most men will never reach this point. They will keep reacting, keep explaining, keep chasing clarity. But once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. And from that moment on, you stop asking why people pull away. You already know.